This past week I participated in the Deckathalon for the first time ever. I even managed to beat Hailston with my very last credit. My name is Taylor, and today I'm going to go over my first experience with Deckathalon, what I absolutely loved, and what I didn't. Finally, I try to give my answer to the question, should you play Deckathalon? For those of you who have no idea what Deckathalon is about, I'll give a quick summary. The Deckathalon consists of 10 towers of 3 fights, a 1v1, a 2v1, and a harder 1v1. The key difference from normal gameplay is that you can only use treasure cards and stats don't matter. The only thing that matters is the deck. The event progresses in difficulty as you move further, so does the ability of the decks. At some point, the decks give health, flat resist, more space, jewel slots, and importantly, extra starting pips. As you attempt your way up the tower, upgrading your deck, you face harder and harder enemies, requiring you to find new ways to deal with such high damage and such low health. This may sound daunting, but I must say I really enjoyed the challenge. In fact, this event might have been the most fun I've had on Wizard101 in a good while. If you remember back in the early days as a free-to-play level 7 wizard, you went into Golem Tower and probably had the hardest challenge thus far. You had a small deck, limited healing, and multiple 1v2s. Those were simpler times, but regardless, the simplicity it presented was still a reasonable challenge. Deckathalon felt like the evolution of this idea, a place where you couldn't simply outclass your enemies by leveling up or by getting carried by higher levels. Every spell you cast has weight, every mistake has real consequences. The event does this by pitting you against uneven odds and limiting your daily attempts so every run matters. If you fail early, you lose out on attempts at the harder levels. This means you must take every level seriously, even the easier ones, so that you don't waste any opportunity. While I could certainly continue to tell you how great this event made me feel, it's not without its flaws. Remember how I said your stats don't matter? Well, they do, but not in a traditional way. There's one place where your gear actually matters. That's your pet. While your pet does not retain any statistical increases, it does maintain Maycast. So in order to complete the harder towers, you basically must have a pet with Maycast heals, probably a Maycast blade, and very importantly, a Willcast hit. This isn't necessarily a problem until we get into the issue of RNG. For some, the RNG is in the 2 enemy fights and their choice of attacks. But most of the time for me, the culprit truly was my pet. My pet just barely healed. While it certainly did save me more than once, it can be very frustrating as you're sitting there getting hit over and over again with no activation while you're desperately looking for advice and watching people's pets activate to literally everything. To me, this is probably the most important thing to address in the event. As for the later towers, it becomes a real problem. The other major concern is the grind. If you're not an active Beast Moon player or Deckathalon veteran already, the grind to upgrade decks is kinda rough. Often I would see that I could upgrade decks, I was just missing a few common resources. So I went on to another wizard, did 3 runs of the first 3 towers, got my daily rewards, and transferred. This isn't necessarily horrible, but it really took away from the flow of strategy and progression. By the time I was getting to my tier 5 deck, it just felt so tedious. Despite this, the event is really cool. I actually enjoyed using minions and calculating my runs to make it as far as I could go. It even gave me an excuse to farm Nebrix for Brandon TC. Unfortunately, I can't say the rewards are great. The unique pet that is offered is exclusive and gives an amazing set of cards. In fact, it is one of the best pets in the game. I highly recommend this pet for many builds. And there is a cosmetic upgrade path for these cool gauntlet runs. But outside of that, this event doesn't really have much to offer. So that being said, should you do Deckathalon? Well, I think it really depends. I think if all you care about is the hamster and you just want to get back to whatever you're doing before, then meh. If you really want to just move on, farm the first few stages every day, get your 450 points, and be done. But maybe, like me, you're a bored veteran, or you're just looking for a challenging, nostalgic, fun experience, and you don't mind the small gold sink. I'd highly recommend the Deckathalon. I know I'll be doing it again. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to share with your friends, leave a like, and subscribe if I've earned it. It really does help out. Thank you, and goodbye.